Hello, hello. We are live. I'm having some technical difficulties on my computer, so we're doing it on my phone today. Bear with me through that. I'll give it a couple minutes to see how things are going and let some people jump on. And yeah, so we'll do that as I'm letting everything get signed in. If you were with us last week, I'm hoping that today goes significantly. That's something I'm looking for. In addition to, also, if you were here last week, you know that we are in the process of redoing the office. So that was a different color. Now it's white. Hopefully in 2 weeks, it will be the wallpaper we're looking for and be all nice. So it'll be so cool. I'll wait a little bit and let everyone jump on before I get all in the details of everything we are going to talk about today. And it is so much fun. I'm so excited to go all in depth on getting you guys ready for interviews and going into what your resume really needs to look like. If you're jumping on today, I'm going to really stick with the topic of production agriculture. I'm not going to go really into anything else. So, that if you're not wanting to talk about ranching or farming or any of those operations, this is probably not the live for you. If you are wanting to learn about remote jobs, agribusiness, if you really just don't even know what you want to do and you want us to do a live about that, let me know in the comments and I can set something up. But today is all about production agriculture. Okay. Oh, you guys are so good. I'm so glad you're here on the live today. We have super cool stuff we're about to go over. I'm just going to give it, say, another minute before I get in the weeds. One thing, though, that I am going to do that I haven't done before that I think is going to be really cool is a little bit about why we do what we do and even who we are. So we are Talent Solutions, which you can see I even have hats. It's kind of cool. But in that, we are a recruiting company. So we help people looking for jobs find great jobs, and we also help ranches and other businesses find great people. We're kind of that middleman connecting both parties together for most success. So why is this even a benefit to either party? Well, if you're running a business or you're running a ranching operation, you're really busy. You don't really have time to hire, and if you do, you don't know how to hire right. It ends up being a bad process for everybody. So we come in and we manage that process for them. And that really, we've seen great success in that. But then as a job seeker and someone looking to get into the industry or that currently is in it, one thing that we have found is a lot of times ranches are not what they say they are, or farming operations. Like, tell me if that's ever happened to you, because I hear it all the time from people that they're not what they say they were. The job isn't what they say it was going to be. Like, there's always that unknown. Maybe it was a bad experience, all the things. We completely make that, 20 times easier. Because if whatever we say the operation is what it is. We go, we check out these operations. We make sure the guys are who they say they are. The duties are, we are very thorough of the ranches we represent. So there is no misconception of the ranches falsely advertised. We really make sure you guys are seeing the best of the best, and we have seen great success with that. Down to, which is kind of cool, timing-wise. This doesn't happen to me all the time, but we literally got a text not even 10 minutes ago from a gentleman that interviewed over the weekend. He got the job, accepted the job. He moves out there in about a little over 2 weeks from now. So super great success story that just came in, and we're super pumped about it. Really cool operation, great family that's going to be moving out there, and hopefully will be there for many, many years to come. So that's what we do in a nutshell and why we are even here talking. But as promised, I am going to talk about resumes and interviews. So I'm going to look at my comments. Can you send me the stuff you talk about tonight? Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm going to try and click record so then you can see everything so we can repost it tomorrow. So if you're not able to see all of it, hopefully you catch all the good stuff. And if anything, you can always shoot me a text and we can go from there. Give me 1 second. Everyone, you guys are so patient. Okay. I don't know if there's a way to do it. On my computer there is, on my phone there isn't. So I will do my best. If not, shoot me a text or a message and we can kind of go over what I discuss so then you guys can have it for the future. Give me a minute. I'm checking one more spot. Okay, so I'm going to jump into it. I don't think I'm going to be able to record this one, unfortunately, but we can connect after, and know that next week I will make sure that it is recorded and gets posted so everyone can see the recap of it if you are missing it right now. Know that I will make sure that happens next week. So with that, let's jump into resumes. We're going to start with resumes, then we're going to dive into the interview questions. Know that all of the information that I'm sharing with you guys tonight is in my systems. So I know you've heard me talk about them. They're actually on sale right now, so check them out. I will put them in the link below. Like, check out my systems. They are on sale, so because of that, I mean, they're a really good deal. And everything I'm going over is going to be in them. Okay, sales pitch, done. Now I'm going to get to the content of why you guys are even actually listening to this. So when we're going over resumes for production agriculture, I know, which you guys can put in the comments if you're wanting to, it's the old days of showing up at the ranches or making a phone call and not actually having to send in a resume. I really feel like they're gone, or I think they will be gone in the next year or two. I really do. And I know there is so much, people don't love that. I see the posts, I know. But at the end of the day, the larger ranches and the larger farms are requiring them. So because of that, it will trickle down to everybody else that will potentially hire. It will. So if you haven't thought about getting a resume, check out our resume writing service. It is also on sale, or our templates to help you build one. Or feel free, if you build one and you want to send it to me, do it and we can check it out. But know that at the end of the day, resumes are coming in production agriculture. They are, and there's not much I can do about it. They're going to be here. So to prepare you for it the best that I can, so we're going to go over kind of briefly what I think needs to be in resumes and how you guys can stand out, and an easy way to do it. Don't overthink it. Don't reinvent the wheel. They don't need everything. You just need something. So when it comes to resumes, you really want to nail down what you have done. So how many times have you done something? How often are you doing it? And at what volume are you doing that? So I like to use the example of cattle. I think it's a very easy one that everyone can translate over to. How many cows have you ran? How many acres are you managing? And then how many people are doing it with you? So if you are a sole guy that's managing 700 head, and I'm just throwing numbers out there because you'd be busy. You'd be booking it. So if you're managing 700 head, and you're by yourself, or say there's 2 of you that are doing it, that's awesome. Put that in there. Be really clear, I independently manage 700 head of cattle, on this many acres. Like, do that. Lay it out just like that. How many acres do you oversee? If you guys put up hay, so say you guys are a haying operation, you put up hay. How many bales are you putting up? What equipment do you operate on the hay crew? Are you mechanically inclined? Can you fix the equipment? What have you worked on? Like, really lay that out in what you're doing. So always do job, like the name of the ranch, the dates you've worked there, 3 to 4 bullet points. I mean, if you have some more, throw them in there, of what you have done there. Make sure you put the numbers there. If you know your death loss, oh my gosh, I love that. I love if somebody is in tuned enough with their numbers, they know their death loss. So they know if you're calving out heifers or if you're just calving out cows, that there's a big difference in that, especially with not as many people retaining heifers as they used to. That is really important to people that keep heifers. That if you are equipped and understand how to calve out heifers, that is becoming more of a deal. With that, then being able to then know your death loss, perfection right there. I love that, seeing that in a resume. But then when you put that in there, then just go on to the next job and the next job. Say you had a break and you just did a bunch of day working, or maybe you just day worked and you started colts and you just managed it all on your own. Awesome. Then just put day worked and started colts from this date to this date, and then list out your duties of what you did. You don't need to have, I day worked here, I day worked there. If you day worked for a year straight and all you did was day work, start your own colts, just list that as one bullet. I did that for a guy out of Oklahoma. I built him a resume, and we did that, and it was awesome. And it was very clean, and he loved it, and they're really happy. So when it comes to that, keep it very simple. If you have any form of education, you can put that under your experience, just where you went to school. Another thing, I'm not a big believer on dates. I'm not. I don't love dates when it comes to education. I know it's controversial, but I'm going to say that because if you put dates on there, people are going to quickly associate you with you're either too old or you're too young. So how do you avoid that? Do not put the dates you graduated high school on there. I wouldn't. I'd put you went to high school. I got this associate's degree if I did, or I did some college and just put it on there. I'd avoid dates. I would, because you're going to get, I guess, put in one category or the other, and I would avoid it at all costs if I were you. Also, another don't. I have one more don't. Is that do not put your address on your resume. You can put the city and the state if you want to, but do not put your actual address on the resume. Don't ever do that. You never know where resumes are going to end up. You never know, and you don't need everyone knowing where you live. Like, that's personal information. Don't put it on there. Don't put any, like, nicknames on your resume. Like, use your actual name, the one that people are going to be, like, calling you by. Don't use nicknames. And then when you go into your skills, if you're going to list them, keep it really simple. I would go leaning on, say, we're talking production agriculture, equipment you ran, types of equipment. So say you've only ran John Deere equipment, I would put that in the skill category. And then if you're mechanically inclined, if you're a really good welder, if you've started colts and you're pretty proficient at that, and you would say you're handy enough to do that, I would put that on there. Anything that's really going to show what you've done, I would add that in there on the skills. Keep it simple. Don't reinvent the wheel. I know I can talk about resumes honestly all day long because there's so much that goes into them, but I don't want to bore all of you. So is there a question that anybody has regarding resumes? Is there like something someone wants to ask about resumes before I move on to interview questions that are either going to make or break you when it comes to applying for jobs? Give it a minute and get all my questions out. Okay. So I am really a big believer in interview questions are going to make or break you. And when I say that, I know that there's two types of interview questions. I'm going to back up for like 1 second. There are the interview questions you ask during the job interview. So like in the phone call that you have with the ranch or the in-person when you go to visit, those are those questions. You're trying to learn about them. They're learning about you. You want to know what you're going to be doing. Those questions. Those are standard questions, okay? I have those in one bracket. And then there is the questions you don't ever accept a job unless you have the answer to. And I have a whole separate bucket of questions, and I have them in my systems, which I'm going to be done talking about, but in that, I have them broken into two categories because they do matter. There's the questions I ask in an interview that is just giving me more information, and then there's the bucket of questions that do not accept a job unless you know the answer to them. Because that is how you end up at jobs, whether it's a farm or a ranch, that is not the right fit. And then you're calling me in 4 months because you took the wrong job. And thankfully, I will confidently say that that does not happen when I place you on a job because I am very, very thorough. But when you don't take one of my jobs and you take another, then yeah, you call me in 4 months because it's not what you thought it was. Happens often to me. So because of that, I came out with a whole sheet. Do not accept a job until you know the answer to all of these questions, because this will keep you from making really bad job choices. Right off the bat, though, we're going to talk about the first bucket, the questions that you need to ask and kind of know before you even move into those final questions, final stages. So right off the bat, what you really want to know, and I call it my interview question bank, is what I like to call it, because at the end of the day, it's a bunch of questions. You're not going to ask all of them. You're going to ask what's most important to you and is relevant to the conversation. In that, you want to get very clear expectations of what they're needing from you and what type of environment you're working in. So like, what I like to always get into is I want to know what a day looks like. Walk me through a day. I know it seems weird to ask, but at the end of the day, if they can't walk you through what a day looks like for them, then how are you going to get guided through what a day looks like for you? Like when you're in it. And you get to hear what they're thinking and see if it makes sense for you. So describe a day. What matters most to you? What is success in a day? Like, you want to know at the end of the day what they're wanting and what a good day looks like for you. Like, have them walk you through it. How do we come up with a plan for the day? So are we the find out the plan the night before, kind of figure out what we're going to do? Are we the morning of planners and we're going to have a meeting? Or are we the fly by the seat of our pants and we might find out the plan throughout the day? Like, you need to know which one you're walking into and what makes sense for you. Some people like a morning meeting and they want to know the plan. Some want to know the night before. Some don't really care if the plan changes 4 times throughout the day. And in the ranching world, if any of you guys here ranch, you know that there are all those types of environments. I know all of them personally from different ranches I know in our own operation. So you always want to know what's going on there. So with that, some other questions I really like is how much, independent work is required, is accepted. So thinking are we going to be doing everything together? Or are we going to do things by ourselves and you're going to let me go and we're just going to figure out a plan? Like, what do things look like? Like, you want to kind of know how they're set up and what they like. What are some other questions I really like? I literally have a sheet of questions. So I'm like, what are really important to you? What do you guys really care about? This is one of my favorite ones. How do you guys handle the schedule in the non-busy seasons? So I always like asking that because every single operation is different. So I know some that it does not matter if it is calving or if it's in the spring and we have everything to grass and we haven't started haying yet. Like, chillest time in the world from a ranching perspective. You are working a set number of hours. You are working weekends. You're working this, and it's like boom, 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 boom. In addition to being really intense during that busy seasons of like weaning and calving and if you're feeding cattle and whatnot. So knowing what their schedule looks like, knowing how they treat slow times is really important. Because, and what works for you? What works for your family? You need to know what to expect during the busy time in the schedule and when things are a lot slower and a little bit more steady pace. And if you get up and get things done, you can be done by 4 or 5. You need to know what the owner expects from you. Okay. I think knowing how to learn the day-to-day, that's important. That's probably my next one that I would say wanting to know about. So obviously I don't know your operation. This is going to be completely new to me. How do you plan to show me things day to day? It's going to change by the season. Am I going to follow you around? Are you going to walk me through and kind of give me direction? You're going to show me around? Like, how are you going to like show me how to do things? Like, what's their plan? I know some guys that probably would have just set you loose, unfortunately, and been like sink or swim. You're either going to figure it out or get yourself lost. That's not very sustainable. And there's some that are going to make you follow you around for a while. Like, how are they set up? What do they expect? It all comes back to expectations. You need to know what is expected of you and what they're looking for when they brought you on. So I like asking all those questions. Is there any other fun questions that you guys ask in interviews that you like asking ranches? Does anyone want to throw that in the comments for me? Oh, come on. You got to give me some ideas. You guys got to have something you like to ask them. See if there's any more that I really like that are good. That are really good questions to ask. I guess one thing you always want to ask in an interview is understand how you get paid. That's important. Know how you get paid, know if there's any benefits, know what all the perks are and what they're considering as perks. Because if one thing we know in this space is the pay is not just what you get at the end of the month, it's everything else. So how do you know what that is? Oh, interesting. Mistakes were made intentionally. Oh, goodness. Yeah. You definitely want to make sure you have that plan. That's good. Is there any questions that you like to ask in interviews or whatnot, Brooke? And always, here's my second step. Don't ever take a job sight unseen if you haven't seen the house yet. I mean, to be honest, I wouldn't take a job sight unseen in general, but always have them show you the house. Always, always. I've heard horror stories where guys have went and looked at houses and they're almost falling through the floors. I've heard some where houses were promised. They get there and they say there's no housing. Always, always either look at pictures, make sure that the housing is what it's supposed to be. That's huge, 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 huge. Too many horror stories from that. I don't know if I'm going to go down this rabbit hole. Okay, I will. I'm going to say one more thing. When it comes to this, you always want to make sure, they say you can run some cows. That is a hard one. We've all heard it. I love when operations are open-minded to it. I really do. I think it is great. I know many that are. I'm a big proponent of it and push a lot of operations to be open to it, at least the conversation. But in that, I would expect that's probably in the first year. It will not be within the first 6 months. I know some operations that it might be within the first 2 years. So I think with that, there's always that real, like, there needs to be that it's not going to be right away. I don't really know any of them that's ever been right away. It's normally a little ways down the road, but, and here's a big but to this, the guys that I do know at different operations that have taken advantage of it it has been a great deal for them. It has been an absolute game changer, and it really helps take everything to the next level, and they make really good money doing it. So I think there's opportunity there for the right place. I don't know if anybody else has had experience with that yet. Okay, moving on to my make or break questions. So my make or break, do not accept a job unless you have the answer to these questions, if I can find where I put them. Make sure you ask and you have understanding before you ever take a job and not know these questions. So has anyone, before I jump into this, taken a job and that not be what they thought it was? Has that happened to anybody yet? They take a job and then they later on find out that it was not even in the same ballpark of what they were told? Yes? Yep. I know. I can't stand it because at the end of the day, it's not good. It's not good. So that's why I created these questions. I know they're not perfect. It's not a silver bullet that's going to be able to avoid the situations. I do think that's why really making sure the operations are what they say they are. I know any ones that I work with, ranches that I'll represent, which I'm very picky about who I even talk to. I have to really know, like that they are who they say they are. The job is what it says it is. No false advertisement on my end or with any place that I work with. But I know there's a lot of jobs out there that happens too. So some of the biggest things is, my biggest question is, what does a typical day-to-day look like broken out by the season? And you really want to break it down by the season. The reason I say that is I've seen so many times where maybe a role it's a cow-calf guy. Say it's a commercial cow-calf guy, and they're going to throw that out there. But at the end of the day, they feed a ton of cattle, but they're not advertising they're feeding a ton of cattle, a ton. And next thing you know, you're spending all day in a feed wagon from about probably October to May. And all you do is feed cattle. That's not the typical commercial cow-calf guy that you think it is. It's not even close to that. So if you don't ask that, what does the day-to-day look like broken down by the season? What am I going to be doing? And have them walk you through it and like be really adamant. Okay, what are we doing in the fall? What am I doing? What am I doing in the winter? What am I doing in the spring? When are we starting calving? What is my role in calving? What is my responsibility when it comes to calving? Don't assume anything. Ask the questions, because I think that's where there's the clarity in it. And then same through the summer, what things look like when they take cows to grass. And I'm in Nebraska, so I throw that out there. Everything that I really speak to, yes, I work with ranches, all basically the central part of the country, from all the way up north, all the way down into Texas. But a lot of when I make similarities are going to be Nebraska based, because that's what I know. That's what I ranch. That's what I do. So a lot of my things are based on that. So bear with me, guys, on that. And then I do like to ask kind of how in the next 90 days or the next 30 days would I be able to show you that I'm doing a good job and you feel good about hiring me? And the reason why I ask this question, and you can throw it out there in the next 30 days, 90 days, 6 months, that you're going to feel good that you hired me. The reason why we ask this because we want to know what they're measuring. Like, what are they defining as success? And you need to know if that works for you. If you even like that, or if that's a total personality that you don't even like. But you need to know those things. And if you ask that, it will tell you what it is. And then what problem is this like, what am I solving? Like, by hiring me, what are we solving? So am I replacing somebody? Or is this a brand new hire? What are you looking for hiring me to solve? Then goes back to figuring out what they're looking at, what they're doing. Because especially the ones that haven't hired. So if they're regularly hiring, you want to ask why the other person left. You want to ask, why they're hiring now. You want to ask those questions because you need to figure out kind of what's going wrong. But if they haven't hired, and this is a brand new hire, then you need to know what problem are they trying to solve by hiring you. Goes back to knowing why they're doing it, so then you can know whether or not it works for you if you're the person looking for the job. Then goes into, has this job existed before, or is this like you decided now you want to hire? Also in that, here's another caveat from a ranching perspective. If they have never hired before and they are looking to hire, or maybe they haven't hired in years and now they've decided they're going to, there's two things that are popping into my head. They have a life change that has happened that is causing them to need to be stepping away more, and they want someone that can be there to take care of things. So are you going to be more independent? Possibly. Second thing, they're looking to take in more cattle. So either they're looking to take in cattle, they're looking to buy more cattle, they're looking maybe to background more cattle. Like, there is some component, maybe they're looking to do some custom haying. They're looking at ways to increase their production of what they're doing, and they need an extra person to do it. Really want to know why they're hiring, what's going on, and what their plans are kind of for the future, all in that question, to make sure it works for you. Next one that we like to go into, if there's multiple people, so say you're multi-generational. So say there's a dad, there's a son, and then they're hiring. Or maybe there's some other people involved and they're still hiring. You need to know who you report to. Who am I going to report to? Who am I talking to? The last thing you want is to get into a situation where the dad's giving orders, the son's giving orders, and you're sitting there throwing your hands because they're not the same thing. You need to have a very clear, who am I communicating with on a daily basis that's giving me direction. You don't need that confusion. Looking through. If you're very growth-minded, okay, and I know that happens, and it really depends on the operation, because then we want to work through what the operation looks like for you in your future and what makes sense. But if you are very growth-minded, you need to make sure you see what those opportunities could be at that ranch. So if you're going to a small family ranch that's not running a ton, then at the same time, you're probably not going to have a ton of advancement. But maybe that advancement is you could buy some cows. You can run some cows with theirs and pay rent and be able to grow a small cow herd while still working for them. Maybe that's what advancement looks like from their perspective. Or maybe it's none. Maybe it's moving into a ranch manager job if it's a bigger ranch that has the opportunity for that. If it's in either a bigger ranch that has multiple locations, or maybe it is a ranch that's expanding and looks like they might take on some more ground. Like, there's so many opportunities where you can become more independent, whether that is you're going to manage a ranch, or even going and living on a ranch by yourself. Say you live on one location and it's ways away from the main ranch. That might as well be a ranch manager when you manage everything on your own day-to-day. And that can be a great perk. And you don't actually have to manage a ranch. You just have to have the title. You more just manage a location, I guess, per se. Those are great opportunities. Always wanting to make sure you get confirmation on the pay. The reason why I keep coming back to that is that's a big thing that I keep getting is they promise a certain amount and at the end of the day you're getting a different amount. You really want to come down to how you're getting paid, hourly salary, if there's calving bonuses, any of that that's brought in. I know some guys get really creative with how they pay out. If there is PTO, I mean, there are some places that do that. If there's insurance, if there's a 401k, you really want to get that all broken down. What is it? What are you accepting? So like when they make you an offer, so say we get to that point, hey, I'm going to offer you this. Like it needs to be exactly what you guys like negotiated and what you thought the offer was, you know? So here is my red flags. I mean, there's plenty of other questions. I'm not going to go through every single question that's on my production agriculture sheet, but I am going to get into the red flags because that's probably some of the most important stuff right off the bat is the red flags. So what they are, so when you get super vague answers, when you talk about responsibilities or pay, and it just feels like you're like pulling information out of them and they can't give you like really clear path. Like, I mean, I think that's a red flag. Like, there's so much thoughts that are running through my head with that, but I think it's a red flag. So be careful with those if it's really high turnover and there's unclear about the role history. Like, they're very vague about why people are leaving or every reason is somebody else's fault. I'd be scared. I'd be worried about those operations. Everyone wears a ton of hats. No one has like very clear path of what they do. If it's a larger operation, be scared of that because it means everyone will be in everything and no one will actually be responsible for getting things done. It'll be very disorganized and it'll be a mess. Those are really bad. You want very clear paths, especially if their hands are in a lot of different things. You don't want it to be all over the board. No real like process, I guess. Like if there's no, like if they don't seem structured in what they are doing, when you're kind of talking about the seasons, the responsibilities, what to expect, if there's not real structure to that and it's just very and and maybe you've heard that they're not very structured or that they're kind of all over the board, I would be worried about those things. I really would. I would be worried but if you don't care, then this might not be a red flag to you. To me, type A person over here, I like knowing what's going on 2 weeks from now. And that's how we like to operate. I would freak out the other way around. Okay, so when you're talking about family or like your personal life, and they seem like dismissive or kind of like you can feel like maybe they're not really going to be much about balance. So say if you have a family and you want to go to a junior rodeo or something and they don't seem that open-minded to it, I'd be worried. If kind of the family responsibilities, if comments are made about that or your ability workload, all the things, I'd be worried about those things. I would. I'd be really worried about it because at the end of the day, ranching is hard because it is so intricate with our life. And it really all flows together. And at the end of the day, you have responsibilities at home, you have responsibilities at work. It's all going to come together and will overflow, especially depending on the season with the long hours. You need to make sure that it's a very family-oriented environment. If that's important to you, if you're a single guy and don't care, then this question's not relevant. So I think that is everything I went over. I have talked for more than I thought I was going to today, so you can tell how passionate I am about this topic. But if you have any questions, I'm going to open this up. I'm going to stay on for probably another 10 minutes. Ask all of your questions, everything that you need. I will throw some links in the live so you can check out not just our digital documents. You can also check out our resume writing if anyone needs any resumes built. And I am going to make this a regular thing where I will jump on every Monday at 7 o'clock, answer questions, and be able to provide you guys with some info when you are to help you. So ask away. I'm going to be on for about 10 more minutes. I do not have a farm right now that has housing. I did like a month ago, but that is no longer available. Big thing for you. Most farms, I would say, normally do require housing. Is that something that you're running into or they're not? There are plenty of operations. The majority of operations, I would say, do offer housing. So I would just look. They'll normally have that in their ads, or you can always ask that when you're applying for them, just so that you can make sure that they do fit that. And I'm glad that you're wanting to take that next step. That's awesome. That's great. I'm glad that you're open to all of that. Do you have any questions regarding like interviews or resumes or like things that could be happening to you right now that we can kind of work through? What is your question? I mean, that's definitely, I really don't know a ton about it, to be very honest. I know more from a row crop perspective and on the cattle side, not that. Do you have a specific question that I might be able to answer for you? You have to be 18 for most farm jobs. 18 is really the age that I would say things change. 21, no, that's not a problem. What do you guys think is happening on the jobs that you're applying for? Like, why you don't feel like maybe you're getting them? Do you think it's your resume, or you're not getting calls, or is it something that's a little bit more specific to maybe it's the interview, or you're not liking the ranches? Like, what's going on right now? If you're looking for a farm job, and I don't remember what part of the country you're in right this second, to be very honest, but I would definitely make sure that if say you're over in the Midwest and you're working on row crops, I would make sure that you are applying for jobs. Probably, I'm trying to think, I would be definitely before planting. So I would say I would definitely be trying to find jobs before April. If I were you, just from what I'm talking about with farmers, I would definitely say April. And then they'll really get going, but you don't want to be behind. You want to be first out there looking for jobs. That would be my suggestion if you're going to wait a year, is that, and really work on building your resume and your experience the best that you can. Okay. So I will be on next Monday at 7 o'clock. If you guys need Central Standard Time, sorry, I cannot talk. If you guys need anything, and either you are interested in our systems, which are really discounted right now, so take a look at them. It will not last forever. I put that in the chat. Or if you are someone that is looking for a job, and want us to represent you, or interested in any of the jobs we're working with right now, take a look at our website. I will put that in the chat right now, all of our open jobs. They will be changing as we're adding some new ones, but this is what we have right now. And we're always looking for people that are wanting to be in the industry, have skills in the industry, all the great stuff, and we can go and call on ranches that we have relationships with, or farms. So don't let that discount you. If you do not like one of our jobs, we still should have your info. If you guys need anything in the meantime, you can always reach out to me. If not, I will see you in a week. Have a good day, guys, or good night.